Hello, today we are going to install the Haiku operating system in a QEMU virtual machine. So Haiku is a free operating system which is similar to the commercial operating system BeOS. So BeOS 1995-2000. Haiku can run some BeOS applications. Haiku is available for AMD 64X 8664 and for 32-bit x86. We're looking at the latest release, which is R1 Beta4 from 1 year ago. And this is what we're seeing right now is the operating system Haiku installed. This is the web browser application that it's shipped by default, which is called Web Positive, which uses the web engine, uses the WebKit rendering engine from Apple Safari web browser. It has tabs. This is the way you close the application with the top left icon in the title bar. This is how you maximize or restore the application. You can minimize the application, which is called hiding, by, for instance, double-clicking on the title bar. This is one of the two top-level applications that are available, which are Tracker and Deskbar. So Deskbar is this rectangle, and Tracker is the file manager. Okay. Using this feather button, the start menu appears. You can shut down. You have a list of settings and a list of applications. There's a terminal. The operating system has POSIX Unix style compatibility, has Bash as its shell. PS works. We can see Bash in here with process ID 8930. There's also an implementation of TOPS and other command line applications. And the App Store, which is called Haiku Depot, contains very recent free software, including a recent version of the Qt framework, recent version of KDE Frameworks version 6, of KDE applications. Let's look at a KDE application such as kget. Where is it? When you want to install it, it will list the other packages. So Haiku packages come with extension HPKG. The free software, ports for Qt, KDE Frameworks, KDE applications, etc. usually come from an online repository called Haiku ports with an uppercase H and uppercase P. And similar to what you would expect from a Linux operating system, this is not a Linux operating system, but in a Linux operating system, if you want to install kget, the package manager will offer to also install the other dependencies of the package kget, the other packages that are needed such that kget can run correctly. So in this case, ASU1 KDE Control Center Utils. What is this? Netscape Portable Runtime, GPG for PGP, ME for I know, C++, NSS Netscape Secure Sockets, and QCA for the queued cryptography. Apply. Okay, this is the graphical user interface package manager. There's also a command line package manager. The applications are presented in the start menu applications and then key get. Okay, the KXML GUI works. The KDE application handbooks are open from the internet in the web browser. That's the default web browser, which is called Web Positive. So let's install this operating system from scratch in QEMU using Virt Manager. I'm searching for the Haiku operating system for the wiki page. So this is the Wikipedia page. Again, it's open source, not related to Linux, but related to the commercial operating system BeOS. It respects its application programming interface, uses similar applications, and as it says here, the two top-level applications, Tracker and Deskbar, were open sourced as part of BeOS 5. Otherwise, it's original software. Okay, Haiku OS, haiku-os.org, the official website. Central is the Haiku download now beta 4 and the installation guide. Let's open the installation guide. Let's download the file. So it says December 23, 2022, R1 Beta 4. We should download the Haiku image, which images can be written to a USB flash disk or to DVD and can be used in live media, in live mode. Okay. Says that it supports QEMU, which is a good thing. I went for the AMD 64 ISO. It says that the size of the ISO for 64-bit is twice the size of the ISO for 32-bit. And let's look at the installation guide. I already downloaded the file. So again, the file that I'm using is this one. So location, New York, United States, 64-bit, this thing. Let's look at the installation guide. So says, not sure what it says in here. If you want multiple partitions, nope. Let's start installing. So let's open Virt Manager. Create a new virtual machine. Local ISO. Browse. It's Haiku R1 Beta 4. x86-64 anyboot.iso. Automatically detects it as Haiku R1 Beta 4 and will configure the virtual machine correctly. It suggests that I use 1 GB of RAM. I'm increasing this to almost 4. Maybe it's a good thing. What's this? 96. Let's make this 4 CPUs. Haiku OS says that it supports SMP, symmetric multiprocessing, so it should support more than one CPU threads, more than one vCPU, virtual CPU. Let's make this virtual machine image way larger than 4 gigabytes. Let's go with, I don't know, 40. Customize before install. Finish. The virtual machine is configured correctly by default, with the eternal exception of the CPU, which is configured incorrectly. Apply. So let's see how it's set up. So use this tablet, which means the virtual machine will not grab the mouse. You can freely enter and leave the virtual machine. Network interface card Intel E1000, fast enough, gigabit. The CD-ROM is IDE, which forces the motherboard to be the older one, which is i440FX, not Q35. And then the hard disk knows the fastest connection possible, which is VirtIO, which is better than SATA. Okay, so the only thing that I really changed was to change the CPU topology to have just one CPU socket. Begin installation. Now it's booting. This is the boot screen. And now it's asking me if I want to run in live CD mode with try Haiku or if I want to install. So try Haiku means booting to the desktop directly from CD USB drive, which is what we mean when we say boot an operating system in live CD mode. So we actually want to install. We keep the defaults English, American. Welcome to the installer. Okay, so this is a disclaimer and other information. We'll go continue. No partitions have been found that are suitable for installation. Please set up partitions and format at least one partition with the B file system. Okay. So it knows where to install from, which is the CD-ROM, does not know where to install to because I do not have any BFS, B file system partition. So let's follow the steps outlined here. Set up partitions. This top level rectangle shows the current situation. And in here we have the two devices, the CD-ROM and the virtual machine's hard disk. Okay, I see that it supports even 150 gigabyte hard disks. Okay, start by selecting the target drive, which is the VirtIO one. Gets highlighted with a blue border, yes, because there's nothing to preview in there, it's empty. Initialize Intel partition map. Where is it? Disk initialize. So we don't want, as per the manual, to use GPT GUID partition table. We want Intel partition map, which is probably MBR partition table. Let's go with that. Continue. Write changes. Write changes, okay. And now it says that there's empty space on the virtual hard disk. So we should select the empty space, this guy, and go partition create. Partition create. We do not want to create a more than one partition, so there's no need to work with the partition size slider. Partition type should be default, which is B file system, and must be marked as active partition, otherwise it will not be able to be booted. So just check the active partition, keep the rest of the defaults, and then press the create button. If you're sure, I'm sure, write changes. Okay, so now we have a partition 4 not formatted B file system. Select the newly created partition. Choose format B file system. Partition, format, where are you? Partition, format. Don't click on menus that have sub-menus, so on format. B file system. Are you sure you want to format the partition? Continue. Don't modify any of the defaults. So should be default Haiku block size, and very important to have the checkbox enable query support turned on. Format, write changes, OK. Now we can see in the top rectangle that the device, the virtual machine hard disk, has one partition which has volume name Haiku of type B file system in probably an MBR partition table. Okay, says quit drive setup by clicking the close widget at the top left corner of the window tab. So this is the title bar. On the left of the title bar is the close button. Let's click on it. And now says that in the on to combo box, we should choose the only possibility here and click on begin to start the installation. That was the entire installation. When copying is finished, press the stop button. So it's the restart back button actually. Click on the quit, which is the restart button, and the system will restart. Okay, we don't have to forget to remove the Haiku CD or USB drive because Virt Manager automatically will remove it. Let's look at the virtual machine. So BIOS, correct computer name. The boot options, there's just the virtual machine hard disk, which is virt.io, and nothing in the optical drive. The operating system has finished booting. I do not use a boot manager menu. It's enough if the virtual machine only has Haiku in there and boots straight into Haiku. So I do not need to care about the grub boot manager. If nothing else works, if you cannot boot into the system, you can boot into the ISO boot CD and press Shift before the CD begins to load. This will show the bootloader options, which allows you to boot from the hard disk. So if you don't have a bootloader, boot manager at all, or if the boot manager has been corrupted, you can always boot into the virtual machine's hard disk by adding the ISO to the CD-ROM, booting from it while pressing the Shift key. Okay, what else is there to do? First, boot. Once fully booted, you should be greeted with a screen like this. It looks like this. Make sure to read the welcome documentation, which is the quick tour. Default homepage of WebPositive. Okay. And go through the quick tour, which is linked on the desktop. Okay, so that's about the install process. Next up, we'll switch to the virtual machine. We'll look just into the virtual machine by changing the resolution. So preferences, where are you? Don't click again on menus that have submenus. So don't click on preferences. We are looking for screen. Let's change the resolution. So that's 1920 by 1080. So that's 1080p. Apply. Keep. And full screen. Okay, so now we're inside of the virtual machine. The fonts look okay. The web browser, the Haiku operating system is using the correct fonts, which is a ton of Noto fonts. Let's look a bit at the settings, so preferences. There's virtual memory, which is actually swap. It uses a swap file, not a swap partition. Automatic swap management. The sensitive thing to do. File manager settings. Tracker being the file manager. Hide.file, so files are visible by default. What else? Shortcuts. There's some places in the application where it's in the applications and in the operating system where it says Control and Alt. In other places it says the keys that exist on the macOS keyboard, so Option and Command. So screen was where we changed the resolution. What's repositories? So this is for the package manager. Let's look at the default package manager. So maximize WebPositive, open a new tab, not Control T, but Alt T. So on a Windows keyboard, instead of using Control, often you need to use Alt. So Alt X CV for copy paste, Alt F for find, Alt T for new tab, Alt-L instead of Control-L. So let's go back where we were to the wiki page for Haiku OS. The web browser uses DuckDuckGo as default search engine. So let's look at packages. App server is similar to the Linux Xorg server plus a window manager, or similar to KWin or Matter, which are both a Wayland compositor. So both the functions of the window server and the window manager. Okay, and in the wiki page, some of the applications that are available by default are we have some information about them. So there's an application named Icon-O-Matic with the icon storage format HVIF, which is for not raster-based icons, but for scalable vector graphics icons. Okay, there's a package installer. There's Qt. There's WebPositive, package.fs, package installation through Haiku Depot, which is the graphical user interface package management application, and pkgman, which is the command line package manager. Okay. There's a kernel debugger. Package management done with a graphical application Haiku Depot or command line package man. There are remote repositories. We saw 2 repositories in the settings for repositories. There's a special packages directory. Package management functionality in Haiku mounts the packages over a read-only system directory. Let's look at the system directory. So for that, we're minimizing the WebPositive window, either by double-clicking on the title bar, or we go click on WebPositive or right-click, it's the same thing, and then hide all. Let's close the repositories and navigate to the special system directory. The double click is used most of the time, so you need to double click. Successfully. You can drag a window around by dragging on the window decoration, by dragging on the title bar, dragging on the title, on the decoration, dragging on the decoration. There is a special part of the decoration, which is these 10 pixels and these 10 pixels, which allows you to resize the application. So this square is for resizing the application. Okay, so the special directory system, the special directory home. There's a single user in here, which is called user, which is the super user, which is root. And his home directory is the /home directory. Let's configure the file manager to not open new windows for each directory. Find that. So preferences. Single window navigation. Show navigator. Show folder location in title tab. I want every file to be shown, which is the case by default. Okay, and that's about it. Close the settings. Settings are auto applied. There's a button to use the default settings. Okay, so this is the file manager, which is called tracker. You can see it minimized available here. Slash directory contains the virtual hard disk. So the hard disk of this virtual machine, which is Haiku, which is /boot. In there, there's this special read-only directory, which is system, and the home directory, which is the directory of the user. Okay, settings are not hidden in dot directories. So in directories that start with the dots, which are hidden in similar POSIX operating systems, but they reside in /boot/home/config. So the config directory is visible. On my Linux machine, the config directory is in the home directory, but with a dot at the start, so it says it's .config, so it's hidden by default. The desktop directory, as you would expect. Mail, something that we will not use. And again, the configurations. Back to the system directory. Let's read some more about the system directory. Click on Web Positive and then click on one of the open windows of this executable. Okay, so a read-only system directory and Haiku package management mounts activated packages over this read-only system directory. It uses libsolve from OpenSUSE. There's the WebKit-based application web browser web positive, PDF reader BPDF, Poorman, which is a HTTP web server, PE text editor, styled edit text editor, IRC client vision, where is that? Applications, don't click on it. Okay, so BPDF, the PDF reader, Vision, the IRC application, PE, the notepad. Oh, it has functions and the rest. And styled edit. This is this thing. So PE is actually more complex than styled edit. So the help about menu item is not available where you would expect. There's a ton of Noto fonts. Let's look at the file open dialog. Can we paste URLs in here? It's not immediately clear to me how. Okay, let's go cancel. File save as dialog. Allows to put a file name. Maybe you can put a full path in here. Cancel. So the help about in Web Positive is under Window and then About. In Tracker, I'm not sure where it is. Okay, there's the bash command line shell, there's a graphical user interface terminal emulator, which is called terminal, which is this one. So aims to be compatible with the latest release of the BeOS operating system, source level, binary level. Software that was written and compiled for BeOS can be compiled and run without modification on Haiku, with asterisks, of course. 64-bit version of Haiku, which is what we're using now, does not have BeOS compatibility at the binary level because all of BeOS applications are 32-bit. The API compatibility is still there. Okay, so if we would have installed Haiku R1, so this version of the operating system, Beta 4, but 32-bit, we might have some chances of running existing BeOS R5 binary applications. But we totally do not want to do that because maybe those applications are old and not interesting in this case. Okay, there's also another continuation of BeOS which is called Zeta, another not free software operating system, so commercial one. Okay, so that's about all there is to know. The hardware that's available inside of the virtual machine is supported correctly. Network interface card works. Internet works. Let's see if we can do the usual things that we could do at the command line. Let's prove that the internet works. Ping exists. Control C to close. Autocomplete works. Traceroute works. Hopefully. Control L works. ls works. Clear works. Which works. /bin/bash. If we open the file manager, there's no /bin/bash. It's just slash and then Haiku in here. And /bin is something similar to a symlink to /boot/system/bin. Again, /boot/system is that very special directory that's read-only and then packages get mounted on top of it. Okay, so similar things that you would see on a Linux operating system. Again, Haiku is not similar to a Linux operating system, is not using the Linux kernel, for instance. 223, which is a Python thing, 7-zip, add R2 line, which is a, I don't know, GNU toolchain thing. AR still from there, AS from there. Autoconf, automake from the GNU toolchain. GNU AWK, hope, probably. AWK. Bash, the command line shell that we're using right now. PCB, Bison, the BZ compression tools. GNU C++ compiler, so G++. G++ version 2021 07 28. So the G++, the GCC toolchain is 1.5 years older than the release date of the operating system. Okay, let's actually update all of the already installed packages. Let's look at the already installed packages and then let's update them. So the list of applications, the Haiku depot it wants to send usage data, which is a very good idea. Let's go at all packages. How do we find which ones are installed? Only installed packages. Okay, it's using remote repositories with package metadata, which needs to be downloaded and refreshed, which is what it's doing right now. These are the packages that are installed by default. So GNU tools. bbook is documentation for the BeOS API, application programming interface. So if you want to create a GUI application, for instance, it documents B application, B window, those things. Let's minimize all of the applications. How do we do that? Click hide all, click hide all, click close all, click hide all, click hide all. So on the desktop, we have the BeOS API book, the bbook. We have the next button. So made available by one of the companies that owned in the arc of time the BeOS copyrighted material. So Access Co Limited. The API application programming interface is split into kits. There's an application kit, input server interface kit, kernel kit, device kit, etc. OpenGL. For the application kit, there's B application. There's a, of course, a message queue. So the classes have Pascal casing, with some of them having the prefix uppercase B. B clipboard, B cursor, B application. Message and message queue. There's enums. So the application programming interface is C++. There's subclasses, there's constructors, new B application with a string, and then there's this global variable B underscore app, which you can access. Global B underscore app variable. Automatically assigned. Okay. Handler and target. Message sending, B looper, B message, message filter, message queue. So this is the application loop, message queue, etc. Device kit for joysticks and serial ports. Game kit. Low-level graphics access high-performance sound playback. Okay. You can close a tab by middle clicking with your mouse. Minimize by double clicking the title bar and back into Haiku Depot. So we saw BPDF, the PDF application. Okay, and the GNU toolchain continues. Root certificates. CDR tools for writing to CD, DVD, Blu-ray. GNU Core utils, curl for downloading, AV1 decoder, David. Wow, pretty recent software. Expect the XML thing, AAC audio, FFmpeg, FileMagick, Flex, font config, free type. Most of these packages I recognize. I've seen them before on BSD operating systems, on Linux operating systems, in Cygwin and in other places. Git, gflib, GLU, GMP, yes, GMP used in KCalc, the KDE Plasma desktops default GUI desktop calculator app, gzip. Okay, and then there's the user documentation, which is the user guide probably, which is available in many languages. This is English US. And it's also available in these other languages, so Catalan, German, etc. Finnish, Hungarian. Okay. Haiku welcome documentation. The WebKit engine. RBus for fonts, ICU for internationalization, Unicode, Intel, Wi-Fi, not make but jam, Lame for MP3, Little color management, less pager, okay, M4 from the GNU toolchain, not GNU awk but MAWK, OpenGL, software rendering LLVM, MPFR from the GNU project, Nano command line text editor, NASM, the assembler, and Curses 6. Okay, Netcat, Noto fonts, a ton of Noto fonts. And OpenSSH. The OpenSSH server is available by default and running by default. OpenSSL for the TLS SSL library. 7-zip, great. an application that a printer driver that writes PDF files, so print to PDF. Programmer's editor, that's what PE is. That's why it has functions. Syntax highlighting, several programming languages, makefile, gemfile, project management. Maybe this application is used in order to develop inside Haiku, develop for Haiku. Perl language, package config, Python 3.9, readline, sed. Okay, so a ton of audio and video codecs, SQLite, unzip, Vision is the IRC client, WebPositive is the web browser, wget command line downloader, there's also curl, which we just saw which, Wi-Fi support, XZ compression, zlibzip, zstd compression. So very good base on which you can continue adding more open source packages. So there's the minimal open source packages that you would expect. So image libraries, compression libraries, audio video codecs, GNU toolchain, including G++, G, Automake, Autoconf, etc. Sed, awk, so the common Unix command line tools. There's Perl and Python, and curl and wget for downloading. So on top of these, it's possible to port many open source packages, which is exactly what they have done. Okay, so let's go show available packages, show not installed packages like this, and see what other open source packages have been ported to Haiku operating system. So double clicking on the space between two headers will resize as I expect, which is great. There's context menu on the, if you right click on a header, the search works okay. Okay, so let's see what's available here. Spell checkers, games, C++ code style, the GNOME GTK suite of packages, Audacious, which is an audio player, Audacity, which is an audio editor, Avidemux, a video editor and encoder, email client, okay, board strategy game, GUI designer for BeOS, GUI designer for BeOS, B builder. Yeah, this could be useful if you're developing B applications for Haiku. So again, the default application programming interface that you're going to use for creating applications in Haiku is the same as the one for the BeOS operating system, documented in the B book. checkers, far, orthodox file manager for the command line, Minesweeper, podcast, or what is this? RSS feed reader, screen capture, Spider Solitaire, Ghost script, games, 3D games, OpenGL games, emulator for DOS, and not only, Pong, C++ libraries, game, what's this? Bovo, a KDE game. So let's actually start installing KDE software. Or better, let me install the applications that I usually install on a Linux operating system. So for the command line, that would be git. Let's see where it is. So git is already installed. You can uninstall it. I do not want to. What other thing I install at the command line? MC. It's not named MC but Midnight Commander. Let's install it. Okay, depends on zlib. We should actually install the updates first. So let's close this thing and update. Check for updates. There's 91 packages available, which is to be expected. Okay. Strange way of maximizing a window. This way you cannot resize the window. Okay, open SSH, open SSL, Opus, which is audio, snappy compression, speaks audio, Haiku, which is part of the base of the operating system. So bash is actually from the repository Haiku ports, although it's available by default in the ISO. Most of the packages available by default in the ISO seem to be part of the Haiku ports remote repository. But then what's not from Haiku ports? Haiku, so the base operating system, Haiku loader, Haiku devel, Haiku translators. Data translators, not internationalization. So there's also a split in here, similar to what we see in the BSDs between the base source code repositories and the ports. So base in here is called the remote repository Haiku, and ports is the remote repository Haiku ports. Which is okay. It's okay to have this clear separation between what's strictly Haiku, strictly the operating system and minimal userland and kernel mode, and then additional things and additional software that has the upstream in some other place, like the compression libraries, or XML libraries, or codecs. So probably Haiku ports have the upstream, the canonical source code repository somewhere else outside of the Haiku operating system community, whereas the Haiku repository contains software where the Haiku community is the upstream. Okay, so still downloading packages. Format HPKG overlaid on top of the system directory. I will be back in a second. So the updates have finished installing. It says that a reboot is necessary because it probably also downloaded kernel mode files. So let's go reboot. This is the bootloader. It automatically boots to the desktop. Again, it's a single user, graphical user interface centric operating system. Back to where we were, which is the application Haiku Depot, graphical user interface package manager. We're showing both available and installed packages, and we're installing command line things. So MC. It's called Midnight Commander. So there's no context menu. There's no double click. There's just this button, install Midnight Commander. It says that the Haiku packages are up to date. Previously, it showed me in here that I need to install 20 HPKG files. Now it's down to just 3. Packages that were not installed before. So slang, which is similar to ncurses. glib, which is the GTK basic library. gettext for internationalization from the GNU project, apply changes. Okay, so it says downloading, and now it's installed because it shows me the option to uninstall. And the last two things would be Emacs, which I wanted to be in non-graphical user interface mode. Hopefully that's what I get, because there's no other options. There's no Emacs minus no GUI or something. So let's install this thing. Looks okay. It doesn't seem to install graphical user interface libraries, which is a good sign. I only want the command line Emacs bits. Next, after this, I would like to make OpenBSD work. While this thing is working, let's start the application terminal and see the OpenSSH support. So SSH is the client available by default. Let's see like this. So it says that indeed there is an localhost computer, IPv4 address 127.0.0.1, as you would expect. It wants to import the ED25519 key, which is a very recent algorithm, SHA-256, so it seems to be up to date. And now it asks for the password of user. So who's user and what's the password? There's no password for the user, so I cannot type anything in here. Ctrl+C to exit. Who is the user? So now that I have finished installing command line applications, let's look at the command line. So who am I? User. Does the user have root passwords? It totally has. Okay. What other things I would run in a POSIX compatible shell? uname -a. Shredder is the computer name. Haiku is the kernel mode, kernel name. Okay, this is the build version. This is the arch, and this is the today's date and time. Okay. Who, W, let's see which. Seems to be a built-in. Which bash, df. So there's packagefs for /boot/system, but there's also packagefs for /boot/home/config. So the entire directory home config seems to be of type packagefs, which is interesting. /boot/system is packagefs, so an overlay on top of a read-only directory. There's a RAM-fs shared memory. Okay. There's these things which are called flags, QEMPW. The virtual hard disk is the partition, the first partition on the virtual hard disk mounted as /boot of type BFS. Okay, mount. No swap. 3 df. We had df. What else? ps aux does not work. ps does work. Is this the entire list of processes? Kind of, yes. So desk bar is this rectangle. Tracker is this application. And the desktop icons. Bash is this process. SSH is the OpenSSH server. PS is this executable that has just printed this to the standard output. There's the kernel team with process ID 1. There's BeOS servers, launch, debug, mount, package, net, power, registrar, syslog, launch, media, and app server. So app server is the graphical user interface server. Launch, there's 2 launches, probably one for the BeOS user space and one for the user session of the user. Input server, media add-on server. And that's it. So extremely clean list of processes. Where's the terminal? This thing. So this application that we're seeing right now. And Haiku Depot, which is this application, which will close. Why not? Okay, let's see Where am I? pwd ls-la works. Can I start creating directories in here? I know, MC. Yes, it works. F7 work, F7 daily. So at the command line, I could survive from what I see in here. Okay, if I manage to exit Midnight Commander, how do I do that? Mouse works. It's okay with the mouse. Okay, does Control O work? It does. Great. Okay, and then F10 works in this case. Great. So let's finish configuring OpenSSH. The problems with OpenSSH is that it required that the user has a password, which it does not. So let's set one up. PassWD, as you would expect. New password. And Control R. Let's see if this thing works. SSH. Yes, it does. It asks for my own password. The password is okay, but SSH refuses to let the root user connect using just password authentication. Control C. Let's edit the configuration. So that's the configuration of the OpenSSH server. System. I know, where are those? So the package is OpenSSH. This guy. The executables are probably in here. OpenSSL, not in here. Okay. The configuration. Not in here either, the OpenSSH server. But we can see in the process list where the SSH server is running from. So system bin sshd without an open. Okay. System bin ssh. BRS, where are you? This guy. Okay. And the configuration file is maybe here. Settings. Yes. And so this is similar to /etc in a Linux operating system. There's an SSH subdirectory. sshd-config. What does F4 do? Opens mcedit, which is a good idea. And we're going to look for permit root login. It's commented out, and the default value seems to be prohibit password, so it requires that I create a pair of public, private OpenSSH keys, which let's not do that for now. So let's allow the user root to use passwords. Permit root login, yes. Permit root login, yes. F2 to save. Okay, escape to exit. Looks really great. Let's restart to apply the OpenSSH server settings. I'm not sure how to do it otherwise. Maybe it can be done otherwise. But rebooting is so fast. And okay, applications, terminal, and Control R SSH. And that's it. Probably right now I can connect from the exterior of the virtual machine to this virtual machine using OpenSSH, which is important for me in order to survive at the command line. All of the things that you would expect work via SSH, including ncurses, slang, text user interface applications. Control D exits correctly. The prompt is not the best. While inside the SSH connection, it's not really clear that you're in an SSH connection. So I've installed all of the packages in order for me to survive at the command line. Right now I could be able to build software, connect remotely using OpenSSH, copy, paste, use this machine as a build machine. Maybe I can increase the resources that I have allocated to the virtual machine, more CPU threads, more RAM, more of everything. Okay, I'm not sure how much of the random access memory is available to the virtual machine. What are the maximum sizes? Next up would be for me to survive at the graphical user interface, and seeing that it has KDE applications, I'm going to install those. So applications, where are you? Don't open this. Haiku depot. And let's install the packages one by one. First up is 8, the text editor. So right now it's doing this something similar to update, downloading metadata from the remote repositories of the available packages to install. These are the packages that it needs to install. What's in here? QSystray. Audio and video libraries. These GTK basic libraries. Compression libraries. Haiku SVG icon theme. Interesting because it doesn't use the icon themes that we know from the KDE community. It uses icons that are similar to the BeOS icons. More multimedia libraries, more GTK libraries, GStreamer, Qt Haiku plugins, KDE Frameworks version 5, many KDE Frameworks version 5 libraries. So it seems that there is one HPKG file for each KDE Frameworks version 5 Git repository. Applying changes, so at least 100 packages need to be installed and downloaded. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so we finished installing the package Kate and its dependencies. I'm looking at the list of available command lines in Haiku OS, and I searched for a command line that shows some information about the CPU. I couldn't find a /procfs, so I could find a command line executable that's called sysinfo, which says that I have 4 vCPUs, which means that hopefully, in order to have the best performance possible out of this virtual machine, I can allocate, I don't know, 14 vCPU cores, vCPU threads. And this is also showing what memory and swap, but it's in bytes and I cannot read bytes. Mem. Let's disable CPU SN. Okay, so it seems to be able to use all of the resources that I provided to it. I can provide more CPU threads. I can provide more random access memory. And the hard disk is the fastest possible VirtIO. So all good signs for being able to use such a virtual machine for building software for the Haiku operating system. Okay, so now we have Kate. Next up would be to have console, because that's used by other software, such as Crusader, the Orthodox file manager, or the embedded terminal. So let's install console. Okay. Init dead notify config kpty. Right. A shorter list of packages need to be installed because most of the KDE Frameworks version 5 packages were already installed when I installed Kate. It says uninstall console, so it's already installed everything. Next up would be Crusader, the Orthodox twin pane file manager. Install, apply changes. Okay, so let's do the things that I usually do. Applications, Crusader, welcome, okay. Panel layout, compact. A view smallest possible. Apply. Shows hidden files by default. The tab bar position top. And then that's it. Close. And now from the settings, no status bar, no function keys, but embedded terminal. Great. I cannot seem to be able to resize the application inside, so I cannot make one pane be smaller or the terminal be smaller. Control Alt T. Control Alt T. Control Alt T. Great. Okay, I do not want any toolbar. Okay, let's see if page down works. Shift F4. hello.md markdown works and opens the built-in editor. It uses the KDE Framework 5 syntax highlighting, so part of developed alongside the Kate text editor. Ctrl S to save, Alt S to save. So file, instead of Ctrl, most of the time you need to use S, so Alt S instead of Ctrl S. Alt X CV instead of Ctrl once. Okay, let's specify that I actually want to use Kate, not the Crusader built-in text editor that uses the Kate part. That's where general, viewer editor, and how do I select an application in here? So right now it's trying to open the file open dialog, and that has failed, and I'll need to close this application forcefully somehow. Let's see how we do that. Close all. So when I wanted to close the application, I've used this button, which is part of the operating system, not part of the Crusader application. So the operating system knows that I want to close the application. Application refuses to close. So the operating system should wait, I know, a number of seconds and then should forcefully close the application. Otherwise, I'll need to resort to killing from the command line, which I do not know how to do. So I need to kill the application 1155. And it works, just like that. Okay, --help works. There's manual pages. There's also GNU info available. So back to where I was. Applications, Crusader, settings, configure Crusader, general, viewer, and in here I should be able to paste things. So /bin/kate. What's happening? The autocompletion is not working great. Lie. Loss. Okay. So let's go back to where we were. The settings have been lost, which is wrong. The Crusader did not close correctly, so it did not remember the settings that I did in here in the settings main menu. It remembered the ones that I did in here in the settings application. So I'll need to close once. So file quit and then open it again. Okay, so back to where we were. And F4 cannot open Kate. Okay, what's the name of the application? It's a modern version of Kate with the welcome screen. Wow, this is a strange URL. Very strange. Can we start Kate from the command line? Probably boot system bin. Let's find it. Letter K. There's console in here. But there's no Kate. Does search work in here? Where was the search? Find file. File name Kate. Boot system cache. Maybe uppercase. Maybe not in system. Nope, not this one. Find files. Kate, like this. Boot system apps Kate. Yeah, let's go there. And Kate. And I forgot where it was. /boot /system /app /Kate with uppercase K twice. System apps. Okay. And it takes up the bash interpreter. So let's see if ampersand works. Great, it does. So let's try to put this thing. Let's see if copy paste works. What do we copy? Copy. Right click, paste, I close, F4. And it works as expected. Escape does not work. Control U, Control C. Okay, so I managed to install the Orthodox file manager that I always use, which is Crusader, which seems to work okay, including the embedded terminal. I have managed to set Kate as the default text editor, which is great. Interesting icon with word icon or something. So the KDE applications are available, many of them, for Haiku, at least the Qt widgets ones in their Qt 5 version. There's the menu help working. There's handbooks. There's about KDE with these interesting icons. URLs in here work. About Kate with this graphic. Tab bars are styled. So the Qt applications have a theme that's very matching of the operating system. Okay, so Qt 5.15.11, which is a very new version. Icons, icon theme. There's a donate icon. Report bug icon. It looks okay. Support for reporting bugs to bugs.kde.org looks okay. Welcome page. And then most of the features in Kate seem to be available. There's the add-ons here, plugins, including the terminal. LSP client. Wow. Wow. Totally unexpectedly good the way Haiku OS works. The fact that it's hard for me to crash it. The fact that it tries to use the most resources that I give to its virtual machine. The fact that it supports all of the hardware in the virtual machine, including VirtIO hard disks. The fact that it has the almost latest, or maybe the latest Qt 5 version, KDE Frameworks version 5, which is a very recent version, a ton of KDE Qt widgets applications, including the ones that I use. So the triplet, Kate, Console, and Crusader. With this, I totally could be at home developing for this operating system. Okay, so this would be it. Haiku OS works unexpectedly well for me and for my use cases. Has a multitude of KDE software available out of the box, which blends in nicely with the Haiku operating system. The team from Haiku Ports did a great job. Thank you.